Hi, I'm Pega and I want to talk about making our own data set for using it in StyleGAN or similar technologies to creating or actually generating new pictures. Well, first of all, for creating data set, we should know a little bit about topology. Okay, what is topology? If you search it on the internet, you can find several specific definition in terms of mathematics or some easy ones like that I'm going to share with you. Okay, we can say it's a rubber sheet geometry. What does it mean? It means the object can be stretched or contracted like a rubber. You can, for example, shape it with your hands, but you cannot break it. For example, a square can be deformed to a circle, but it cannot deform to be shaped like an 8, because 8 has 2 holes, and holes are really important in topology terms. If you want to create data sets, you should know that the topology of your data set should be the same to actually train your AI properly, and otherwise they would be confused with your data. Okay, for example, here it says that you can ask some questions which would help you to know about the topology, and you can differ between objects. For example, it says how many holes are there in an object. As I told you, holes are really important. How can you define the holes in a torus or a sphere? What is the boundary of an object? Is a space connected, and does every continuous function from the space to itself have a fixed point? Okay, the last one is a little bit tricky, and it's not really our concern here, but you should observe the objects or the pictures that you want to use in your data set in this process. Look at the boundaries and think, if I deform these pictures, can be the same, and how you can say that. For example, you can see it here. Well, you can see it here. For example, you see the deformation of the cup and the cow. The cow is really funny. The cup has a one hole because of the handle, and it can reform to a torus completely, and the cow can reform to a sphere completely. As I was talking about it, you can imagine how you can reform it to a simpler shape in your mind, and you can understand the topology. Well, after understanding topology, now it's the time to create your data set. I think it's really exciting to create your own data sets, and I'm going to explain the reason. because by choosing a data set, you can set a specific goal to your exploration. I have done 2 projects with a StyleGAN, and one of them was with facades, and one of them was with Jenga. And in my Jenga exploration, I can show you the data set here. I was focusing to have one hole in all the shapes, so I can just change them in my mind just to a torus. And then for adding some diversity to the project, I also used some things. For example, this sculpture, as you can see, it has just one hole, and you can really shape it to a simple torus. Well, for creating data sets, you can say that you should at least have 400 pictures. It's not just like that if you don't have 400 pictures you couldn't have any result, but it's like a suggested amount. And for this one, for example, as you see, I chose an object and take a picture around it, for example 4 or 5 pictures from different elevations. But for example, in other project which was just about a facade, I just take a picture from each facade, and it really depends on your goals. For example, in the Jengas, my goal was to observe how we can use AI for our first design process. When, for example, architects are trying to have some volume maquettes to create their idea, we can have, for example, these kind of brainstorms cooperating with AI. For example, 10 people tried to pitch an idea, for example, by a market, and then we can combine all ideas together to see what we can have as an alternative. Or it can be really simply about the similarity. It works through the similarity, and I use this one to explore the facades in a specific area to see what we can extract from that neighborhood to actually, for example, create some rules for our new design. As you can see, for example, this is all of the pictures, which also we could have some limitations in picturing. It's gonna be okay. And then after you took all the pictures, you should resize them. It depends on what code you are using. For example, all of them has explanation, and the one that I was using should have 1024 pixel to 1024. It should be a squared shape, and then you should like this one, number them from 0 to, for example, 400, and then your data set is created. Well, that's it all about creating your own data set. It requires a lot of time and effort. I know that. And if you want to know more about neural networks, the topology terms in deep learning, you can try 3 Blue 1 Brown a video about neural networks. It is really amazing video and well explained. That's it. Thank you for watching.